president of the National Black Farmers Association and a critic of the president's trade policies. Policies have caused China to retaliate with stiff penalties on goods like soybeans, hurting American farmers. Well, this week, Boyd found himself the victim of a shocking incident. He found the N-word plastered on a trash bin at the entrance of his farm. And John Boyd Jr. joins me now. Thank you, Mr. Boyd.
Don, thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on. So why do you think you were targeted?
Well, basically, I think it's more of a retaliation from the Trump administration, and it's retaliation from our strong positions against the tariffs. And the tariffs have really hurt farmers like myself and other small-scale farmers and African-American farmers who haven't received their subsidy payments from the government. And the president has made a whole lot of promises, but very few of those things have reached farmers like myself. So every time I hear him make another announcement about more tariffs and more bailout money, it means bad news for farmers like myself. And you know, Don, it takes a lot of effort to go out and make a crop. And basically what we're looking for is a fair price for our commodity. And the president took away a 90% market for American farmers, soybean farmers, and they didn't open up other trade doors. And that's something that his U.S. Trade Representative could have worked on. The Agriculture Secretary should have been working on making more open markets for farmers like myself. And I've reached out to the president and asked him to meet about this. I reached out to the secretary, the Agriculture Secretary, and asked for a meeting. And Bloomberg asked him about my formal request to meet with them, the Agriculture Secretary. And he says, oh, well, I meet with black farmers, you know, while I'm out in my travels. But he hasn't met in a formal capacity. And I think that that's very disheartening.
Look, you don't need me. You can just keep talking for as much as I'm concerned, because I mean, what you're saying is very compelling. I just have a couple questions for you. One, in all your years, did you ever have anything like this happen to you so boldly and so brazenly before you started speaking out about these policies?
Nothing like this. I have been called the N-word by Agriculture Secretary officials in the past, but Don, that was in 1998. And here we are in the year 2019, and when we turned into our farm and we saw that, and you know, we have children and they saw those awful words printed there. You know, the president ought to speak out against this. Here you have a African American. I've been on CNN before, you know, speaking about these kinds of things. The president should condemn that type of racial epithet printed anywhere in these United States. The president needs to show leadership on race and bring this country together. But yet and still, the country is so far divided on race because the president of the United States doesn't do enough to bring us together. He's hurting our country right now.
Let's talk about a little bit more about policies, okay, John? A lot more if we can. So the president announced today $16 billion in aid for farmers. Do you think it'll help?
Right. Not farmers like myself, because right now I still haven't received my payments from the last round that the president, the $12 billion that he promised farmers. And generally, when the government gets involved and there's paperwork and necessary things that have to be filled out in order to participate in a certain subsidy, that means bad news for black farmers and small-scale farmers. Large-scale farmers manage to fend their way through the system, and especially those farmers who have been very supportive of this president. And I'm hearing that the president met with farmers this week. I didn't get an invitation. I didn't get an invitation to air some of the things that are concerning to to black farmers and other small-scale farmers alike. We didn't get a chance to sit down and meet with the president, and that shows the type of direction that the president wants to take this country. More division and more, just because a person doesn't agree with you does not mean that they shouldn't be able to sit at the table with you and talk about solutions and what can help farmers across the country. And quite frankly, Don, white farmers are hurting more than we are. And I don't understand for the life of me why they aren't more vocal about the financial conditions that they're in. Because when soybeans were at an all-time high at $16.80 a bushel, farmers were doing good. And here we are, a 50% reduction at $8 a bushel, and farmers are still contemplating on supporting this president. How in the world can you vote for somebody when you're at an all-time low? And these farmers are going to end up in bankruptcy, committing suicide, and losing their farms, and they're still talking about supporting the president. And Democratic candidates that are watching this, you need to condemn those type of racial slurs, and you also need to come up with a plan to help small-scale farmers like myself.
John Boy Jr., you have stated your case better than anyone could state it. We appreciate you coming on, and you're welcome back to anytime. And I'm sorry that you're having to deal with this, and all farmers across the United States. Thank you so much.
Don, thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.